in Parliament tracking this story for us. Of course, Annika, there's no doubt people are talking about this ruling in Parliament, and those halls are echoing with chit-chat on it.
That's right, Shahan, and I'm standing here with what is probably arguably one of the most powerful men here in Parliament, the ANC Chief Whip. He's the leader of the caucus, and when there is a vote of no confidence, his responsibility is to suggest how his MPs should vote. So I've got him with me now, Mr. Jackson Mthembu. Thank you so much for always being so courteous and making the time for us. Your initial response to the judgment, sir?
Of course, we note and welcome the judgment. We are a constitutional state. This is a judgment from our constitutional court. Therefore, we welcome it. Of course, we are still reading it. We are still studying the judgment. But our initial response is that the Speaker is in some way asked by the court to see whether there is a possibility to come up with a secret ballot using the instruments of Parliament. Indeed, the instruments of Parliament, one is the Rules Committee that the Speaker is the chair of. So she will come to the Rules Committee and say, here is a Constitutional Court judgment. And of course, we will be advised by the legal advisors of Parliament how do we take the matter forward. But from where we are seated as ANC, we won't be obstructionists. If indeed we arrive at a notion that there must be a secret ballot, we will not be averse to it, to use the Speaker's language. We will not be averse to such a decision of the Rules Committee that the Speaker will be part of. But of course, we also know how the ANC caucus will vote on this matter. Whether you bring it through a secret ballot or you bring it through the manner we have been voting for almost 5 times since the 5th Parliament started, the ANC caucus will not vote with the opposition to remove its president and its government. I'm not sure whether any party will do so willingly and not blindfolded. You'll know that the DA refused to remove its premier in the Western Cape when the ANC brought such a motion. Understandably, because the DA caucus was acting on the basis of the DA decision. Equally, in Mogale City, you will know that people were sought, there were people that had to to take a lie detector to get who did what. And we are therefore saying, as ANC, there is a particular party political system in this country. And we are bound by that party-based political system. On this vote, as the majority party, definitely we will not vote with the opposition to remove our government from power.
So any remedy will come from within, it'll not be external, and you would, if a secret ballot was approved, which I think the Speaker, despite the Rules Committee, as you say, the decision has to go to, Mogoeng, the Chief Justice, almost is compelling her. It was almost a call to action. If you use some of the language, he talked about values and about putting the country first and staying true to the Constitution. It puts you, I suppose, in quite an awkward position, although you would institute a 3-line whip asking your members to vote against a vote of no confidence. If it goes to the Rules Committee, just tell us who makes up that Rules Committee.
It's all parties. By the way, that's how Parliament works. I think other people have no idea how Parliament works. Yeah. The Speaker cannot decree a secret ballot. Let's first start there. She cannot sit alone somewhere and say, on this vote, taking the circumstances that have arisen, now this is how we will vote. She is still expected to bring any matter to a party forum that she heads, a forum of political leaders and a forum of political chief whips that she leads, and that forum is called the Rules Committee. Now, Parliament is rule-based. Whatever we do here in Parliament is based on the rules. Yes, Section 57 of the Constitution says Parliament as an arm of state can indeed arrive at its own decisions on how to conduct its own business. That's committee. She is part of that rules committee. Now you can act outside of the rules committee. The decision of the rules committee is binding on all members of the rules committee, including the speaker. So in terms of our rules, therefore I don't understand. That's why we are saying we are still going to read what this discretion, where this discretion comes in. From where I'm seated, and I think even the speaker herself might be surprised that she has a discretion. I don't think that she has, but we'll still read. Nonetheless, she chairs a very important structure of this parliament that determines the rules. And the rules will also speak to how do we vote. Do we bring in a secret ballot? And in our view, that's where the speaker will then come, of course, empowered by this judgment now. The speaker can say, here is the judgment of the Constitutional Court. This judgment is binding on all of us. What do we do? And we have said as ANC, we will not be obstructionists in that discussion.
Just for people who don't sit in Parliament in the National Assembly when there is a vote, just explain to us, when the actual voting is done, just say there is a secret ballot. You press the button, how would that actually be done? Do you know?
No, you will not press the button, because still that will not be secret. You will need the IEC to come in the same way as when we elected the president. If there was another contender, you then the judge Mogoeng Mogoeng would have then called for the IEC, the Independent Electoral Commission, to come in. Then everybody votes without you sitting on your seat. You vote in the same way as we vote when we vote secretly. When we vote for our parties during elections, in this instance, we are voting either whether to remove or not to remove the president. But there is no, when you vote using the system that is there now in Parliament, that is not secret. You will know how Jackson voted. You will know that Jackson voted for or against, because it's the instrument. That's what the button system says. Therefore, you need a different system. You need a system where you will have a ballot, and also you will have a ballot box. There will be a no, there will be a yes. There are those who will vote yes, there are those who will vote no. It's a very simple equation.
To those people who would vote yes, just say rogue MPs of yours, rogue ANC MPs, what would you do with those people if their names were ever found out? People potentially like Derek Hanekom, potentially like Pravin Gordhan.
You'll see, I wouldn't like us to be putting some spin around certain members of caucus. I am a leader of that caucus. That caucus of the ANC has a view. And that view is that that caucus can't remove. By the way, when you remove the president, the thing that also follows immediately is the government. That is removed. The government is removed. We are therefore, we have discussed this matter. That's the good part. We have discussed this matter as caucus so many times. You will remember that there was a time.
Are you United Caucus?
Well, we have discussed it as caucus. The caucus has a position on this matter. You'll remember that any structure, when you start a discussion, you start not from the same position, but you then come to a decision. That caucus is united, and as I speak now, I represent that caucus on not voting with the Democratic Alliance or any of the opposition parties to remove the President of the Republic and to remove our government. We will not do so. That is the decision of that caucus. Of course, we will also be acting in accordance with what any deployee of the ANC will do under these circumstances. Of course, any deployee of any party in a party-based political system will do. The DA will not do things differently. The EFF equally will not do things differently. They will do what the ANC will do under these circumstances.
Mr. Mthembu, last question very quickly. President Jacob Zuma, when he comes to the House this afternoon at 2 o'clock to answer questions, your committee chairs are behaving in your portfolio committees with far more teeth in terms of state capture, in terms of allegations of corruption, ad hoc inquiries. They're doing their oversight jobs at last. When he comes to Parliament and meets with you, what's his approach towards you like? Does he feel that you are behaving against him, that you're acting against him? Do you have a cordial relationship?
By the way, President Zuma is my president. Let's first start there. He's my president. I don't only meet with him here in Parliament. I meet with him every second Monday at Luthuli House because I'm a member of the National Working Committee of the ANC. I also meet with him every second month as an NEC member. I meet with him regularly. Therefore, there are no issues between a person called Jackson Mthembu and the president of the ANC and the president of the Republic called Jacob Zuma. Therefore, there are no issues at all. When he comes here, he respects, by the way, the work of Parliament. He respects the work that we do.
That's not clear. I mean, it seems that he hates being here. He doesn't like it.
Well, I wouldn't also like to be here when, in fact, I would be insulted. Let's first start there. I would like to be here when I'm asked questions, I'm allowed to respond to questions. But when I'm here, instead of asking, in fact, I come here at the behest of Parliament. Parliament says I must come here to answer questions. But when I'm here, some people stand up and say that I must not be here. Would I feel good about it? I think I would not feel good about it. Therefore, when insults are thrown and other things are thrown at him, he is also just human, like all of us. But for him to come and answer questions once in a quarter, that is his constitutional responsibility. Right. He knows that he must do so. And I think he looks forward to him coming here, including, by the way, the Deputy President, who comes here fortnightly to come, or now once a month, to come and answer questions. So, of course, also the ministers who come fortnightly to come and answer questions. This is how we hold the executive accountable. That is fully understood by our executive members and our cabinet.
Mr. Mthembu, thank you so much for joining us and for clarifying your position, your party's position, following this Constitutional Court judgment. Thank you, Mr. Mthembu. That was ANC Chief Whip, Mr. Jackson Mthembu, who is saying that if a secret ballot is called, they will not be oppositional, but Mr. Mthembu will order his MPs to vote against a vote of no confidence, secret ballot or not. Back to you, Shahan.